What's up, everybody? Hope you're all well. If you guys have been following along this week with the live streams, you will have seen these knives hit the ground, finished ground. Now, what I've done today is gone ahead and put handles on them, but now we have to finish and fit them. So, all I've done is just attach handles. So now we got to cut our Corby screws flush and flush all the way around first. Starting off with a 60 grit belt. Let's get into it. It's going to be noisy, and I'm going to have these on. But you guys will get to see how this whole process goes. Once we move through this stage, then we'll turn around to the other grinder and make them pretty. What's up, everybody that's still here? Let's talk for a second. So, you guys just saw me rough in all the handles of these knives that we've been working on. Now we're missing two. We're missing that one Signature Series and then one of the orders. Now I've got two other knives that he has on order right now that I'm going to be finishing up next week. So I'm going to pause on that one and finish it next week, get all these other ones done. So we've got all the ones that you saw me grind on Wednesday and then finish grind yesterday, if any of you are here from either of those days. We've got a Wasp. This one's got some red liners, Nat McCarter red liners. They're kind of hard to see right now because everything's rough. Once I get it all cleaned, then you'll be able to tell pretty easily. All these are Nitro V. Got a black splicer. We've got a Nat Wasp. We've got a green Wasp. Again, they all look white right now. Once I bring the color out with some finer belts, you'll be able to tell. Another, this is Nat Tradition Junior. All those that I just showed you are orders. This one included. It's a green Hornet. And then I've got, so those first 6 right there are orders right here. And those invoices are going out right now. Then for the drop that I'm going to hopefully be doing tomorrow, I don't think it's going to happen today, but I'm probably going to do like a midday drop tomorrow. I'll be dropping Nitro V Hornets and Mustangs. Here's a red one. Here's a purple one. And here's a blue one. And then the same thing for the Mustangs. We've got a red one. We've got a purple one. And a blue one. And then I had an extra Tradition, full-size Tradition. I will be doing more Hawks. Yes, we'll do another run of the Hawks. If you don't feel like waiting, you can hit me up at verygoodknifeco@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. I've got 3 of these on order right now going. I do take side orders. So I had that extra Tradition. I went ahead and put green micarta on it. That'll be for the drop too. And then also for the drop, we've got 2 specials. This is a Pines Peak Fat Carbon over purple G10 liners. And they're hard to see right now. Let's see if I can. Put a little water on it. Now you can see Pines Peak Fat Carbon over purple G10 liners. They're kind of drying out again. They'll pop once they're finished up. That's just a 120 grit. But that's the stage that we're about to do. Is we're going to take 120 all the way around the spine. So I'll have to use the 10-inch and the small wheel. Once we do that, we'll do 220. So this one's pretty cool. It's like a Buzz Lightyear color. Green, white, and purple. And then I've got another special here. Scrub this. All right, this is the new Fat Carbon. What's up, Gabe? I don't even know who all's in here. I don't have the chat open. Here, I'll show you this. I can't get it open. So this is the new Fat Carbon Forest Eye, or limited Fat Carbon, whatever. They don't ever have this one very much. But this is Forest Eye Fat Carbon over a stone gray liner. It's almost like a tan, but it's a gray. Stone gray liners, G10. It's pretty dang cool. This one will look pretty cool when it's done. So, a few wood liners. This one, special order. And I do that stuff, but that's about as far custom as I'm going to go. No segmented handles or anything. That's for the Signature Series, which I probably won't get done this week. I've got that one over there that I just have to do handles for, but segmented handles take a minute, and I got a bunch to do right here. So we're going to get into this, and I'll go ahead and run through 120 on the 10-inch wheel. On the 10-inch wheel, you'll see me get from the tip of the bird beak all the way around to the tip of the knife. And then with the small wheel, I'll get the underside of the handle, the inner reach, the inner grip. But I won't change until I've done 120 and 220 right here. So let's do that. All right, so this 120 is a little wore out. I'm gonna go grab me. Stick with me for a second. A little more worn than I thought it was. Just grab a new one. All right, brand new 120 then. That Splicer 120. See this one, you can still see some 36 grit scratches in here. Time for 220. That is the, hey Steven. That is the, this one is the Pines Peak Fat Carbon over purple liners, purple G10. It's kind of hard to see because it's dry and not finished. And then this one right here is the Forest Eye. It's like it's just OD green. I don't think it's any other color other than OD green and the black. And it is pretty awesome. And it's got stone gray liners, kind of like a tan. No, these are just specials. So I'm going to drop these tomorrow. There's a Hornet Nut Mustang. All right, let's do some 220 grit. We'll bring out those colors. Pretty Now it's starting to get some color. Pretty sweet. That's all for the 10-inch wheel. Now we got to move to the small wheel. We'll go back to 120. Stick the small wheel on. This one's a little noisy. It's not too bad though. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, you can see up in here, we're still on that 36 grit rough, and everything else is down to 220. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this, the choil area, down on all of them. Then we'll do 220, and then we're going to go to that machine right there to cut the radius. See the difference? This one's the same thing. Alright, that's all for the 120. Now we just got to do the 220. bright and shiny. All right, now we're gonna go right there to that machine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the radius all the way around the handles because they are about 60% of the way done. So let me unplug here and I'll take you over there with me. Let's see how close I can get it. All right, so I'll have to change router bits a time or two throughout this. The reason for that is I use two different kinds. I use a 3/8 round over and a, well rather that's a 1/4 inch round over. 1/4 inch round over and a 3/16 round over. Now the 1/4 inch round over is for 1/4 inch material. That goes on anything bigger than 7 inches. So like the Ramblers, Mustangs, Hornets, Falcons, Adventures, everything that gets the big screws is going to get the 1/4 inch micarta. And for that I need a 1/4 inch radius. So I use a 1/4 round over and then I use a 3/16 round over for the 3/16 material. So Splicer, Mosquito, Wasp, Mantis, the junior models, things like that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those to do. But the last one that I have up in the last bit that I have chucked up here is a 1/4 round, and it is specifically for the fat carbon because it's a wore out router bit. Good Lord. The fat carbon, G10, anything like that will absolutely shred these things and ruin them. So I keep an old one for doing this stuff because it'll do quite a bit before it just gets too bad. This one's almost there. But you'll notice that it's noisy and it chatters a lot. The fat carbon, I'm going to have to hand sand anyway in between the router and the finishing stage, which will be 400 and Scotch-Brite. So we'll start out with just getting the fat carbon out of the way, and I'll show you what that looks like afterwards, because this is where you're going to start seeing the layers come out when we actually contour it. See here? I'll show you quick. New one. Pretty cool. Look, that's okay. Pretty cool, huh? That's it. It's got to get hand sanded now. That's all for the fat carbon ones. Now I got to change the router bit. As you can see there how easy that is to get it down to the exact perfect radius that I want. Instead of trying to roll it all out on the belt, I just run it through the machine. She done. So like I said, the fat carbon's actually going to get hand sanded. So I'm going to go and try and butter up Mama and see if she'll hand sand these for me. And I'm going to keep rolling on the rest of these. She giggled in there. Alright, let's change out our router bit. I'm just going from 1/4 round, the old wore out 1/4 round, to a newer, fresher one. It's not brand new, but it cuts a lot faster than this one does, and it's half as noisy. That one chatters a whole bunch. It's also real hard to cut with. But as long as they're still going. So I have to set up the router bits, because if I plunge them too deep, then it'll leave us a line on the side where the actual bit will start cutting up into the handle. I don't want that. Yes, those the Corby screws. I know I didn't show that process. Oh, I've got one in here. So those I use a step bit to actually cut that shoulder in there. So they've got a 7/32 inch shaft that runs through. I make sure that runs through both sides, not just the blade. I want it to come into the handle, that way the other side of the handle doesn't ever move as well. But both sides are countersunk for the heads of the Corby screws. Then I just went ahead and cut them off. That's about where we started today, was after I had cut them off. But I didn't show that part. I just got them close enough because this right here is going to take up enough time. We're already at 77 minutes. Okay, so like I was saying, I have to. There's Miss B.
Are they ready?
They are. They are just the fat carbon ones right there. So I'm just going to check and make sure that it's not going to leave a mark up top. That would require me to go back a grit to get rid of that mark. And if I have to do that, then this run's going to take a lot longer. So I kind of got to minimize those steps. Get it right or do it twice. And here's that mark I was telling you about. See the line right there? Router bit's just the most minuscule amount. It's about 2 or 3 thousandths too proud out of this. We're going to change that. Because what I don't want to do is go back and do every single one of those handles like that. And then you won't really notice about 2 or 3 thousandths worth of difference between this side and this side. Just to make sure that I don't have that problem again, because I've got all these handles to do. That's what we're looking for. Pretty much the exact same radius, and you can just not really tell the difference, but it's about 3 thousandths. And this side right here, this side I'm gonna have to cut that back, because once I finish it, you'll be able to see that hard line. So now I know we won't have that problem for the rest of them. We'll go ahead and run them. This process is twice as messy as it is noisy, and this stuff gets everywhere. So I'm going to put the front on right here, and this is just a homemade router stand, because the router stands available don't really do what I want them to do. So I just made one. I made half of my stuff too, because everything's like that, it seems. All right, now I have to reach in. Look how messy that is. Isn't it great? My goodness. Alright, now I gotta put the 3/16 round over on. Gotta mess the vacuum up later now, don't we? So let's go ahead and swap for the last time here. Our router bit to a 3/16 round over. Now we're down to the little handles. Alright, so then same thing. I gotta make sure that I don't set it too proud. And I just run the material over and test it. That doesn't always tell the truth, as you could see just a minute ago. I still had to change it, which isn't a big deal. We just gotta make sure that we don't run 20 of them like that, because then it's gonna take an extra 20 minutes or an extra hour sometimes. Good to go. Nice. Alright, so, yes please. Did you get the corner shoulder good? Alright. Oh my goodness. So, let's take a look at what we got here now. I'm gonna take you back over here. All right, so now we have a handle that is 90% of the way finished. So what we're going to do now, what I used to do is hand sand all these, and what I found is that everyone prefers the feel of the router fluff because it gives a little bit more grip, and it doesn't really add much benefit hand sanding them other than it looks cleaner, but I can make them look just as clean. I just don't take the fluff away. So I still finish a 400 everywhere else except for the radius, only the radius. So Now I got to do the shoulders right here, and I just do a little quick knockdown on those to make sure that they're not sharp. I don't want anything sharp or anything that's going to wear a blister on you. And then we'll take the 400. I'll do that with the 400, and then we'll 400 all the way around the entire spine. And Scotch-Brite, and this knife will be ready to sharpen, and it's pretty much finished at that point. So, thank you, Mama.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go to the gas station.
Something great.
Ginger ale, Sprite, root beer,
Sprite's good.
Sprite.
Please. So, I finish the sheaths after I have everything completed. So I have molds for everything, and the molds are so I can have extra space around everywhere that shouldn't be super tight, like around the edge or around the bevel. Sometimes I mold knife-specific sheaths, but most of these, pretty much every single model has a mold of its own, and I'll show you that since you asked. I've got a box full of molds. Oh, no. So I got this box full of molds. This is these are taco sheath molds for Kydex, and then I've also got a box full of pancake stencil or frame molds. I made all these, of course, but like this one, this square sheath is for the lineman knife. So it has all the holes set where I want them. That way I don't have to go measuring anything out. When the sheath is molded before I pull it out of the frame, I'll go ahead and pop the 1/8 inch holes in there. Then I'll use the 1/4 inch drilling. But anyway, the square sheath is for linemen because it's a hawk bill. I learned throughout years of making sheaths for my friend Victor, who helped me develop all the linemen and electrical work knives, that you don't make knife-specific fitted sheaths for hawk bills because they'll cut them up every single time. But anyway, these are taco sheath molds, and you can see that they're essentially just a knife that hasn't been finished or beveled. No bevels. So like here's one for Revelation. Okay, and you see every one of them have these holes in them in the back. Those 3/4 inch spaced holes. That's because I have to extend this. This whole thing's going to be in between foam, so I don't really have much to grab onto. Rather than make these things extra long, which would eat up a whole bunch more steel, I just make them this length, and I made a master handle that goes in every single one of them. I just swap it back and forth. So if I have 10 of these sheaths to do, I'll do 10 of these, mold them up, and then swap the handle over to something else. So that's pretty cool. It took me a long time to develop something like that. Years and years of just fighting with Kydex, because Kydex is a bear. But anyway, another big thing with Kydex is making sure that you don't mold this space in where the choil is. Because once Kydex gets behind there, the shoulders will eat it up. That's 70% of the reason why every single one of my knives that comes down to a spine down underneath, unless it has like here, I got an example right here. Unless it has a guard or the handle is fitted all the way to the spine, unless it looks like that, every single one of them have these little chamfers, right? I know some of you guys have noticed that, and I've been doing that with my knives for a very long time. In fact, the first knife that I did it with is sitting right here. This is the first one that I did it with, and I did it because it was eating my sheath. The one that I made before this. Hey Chad, how you doing, buddy? So and I'm just talking about, I'm supposed to be doing handle work over here, but Steven got me sidetracked on something. So I've got I just got tired of the Kydex getting eaten up, and I could not figure it out. Even with like when I would mold something, I would let's see if I got one handy. Where you at? I don't see one. Let me grab my. So before I started doing the actual model molds, mock-up molds or Kydex molds, and also you notice these aren't beveled. They do have the drain hole thing on there. That way I don't have to heat the Kydex up after it's already done. It just molds it right in. But before I started filling in this choil area with just the steel, I was doing things like this right here. Oh, come here. So I would take some micarta or wood or another piece of steel and actually just glue it right to the blade with just a dab of super glue. And then I could pop it off after I mold the sheath and then just take the Scotch-Brite, wipe that glue off. But, you know, that just got old. But even doing that, I noticed that the shoulders were still cutting up sheaths. So every single knife I made from that point on that had a Kydex sheath got one of those little chamfers. And once I started doing it, I kind of like the way it looks, because I don't know of any other maker that does that. There's a few knives that I've seen out there that have had something similar done, or they round it off, but nobody does it exclusively. Nobody did 8 years ago, and every knife that I have made since then has got those little chamfers, and I will never do them any other way. It's kind of a signature thing now. Looseness in the final knife. Nothing ever comes loose, ever. I've never, ever had one of these come loose. Oh yeah, between the molds, oh yeah, absolutely. Every mold has to have a little adjustment. Maybe 4 out of 10 I will stick in there, and it is absolutely perfect. And the reason for that is all these are hand done. They're all getting just the most minuscule amount of difference. Also, the variance in thickness of handle material. Sometimes the micarta will come, the 1/4 inch will come in like 260. Sometimes it'll come closer to 300 like this. So this one, I'm gonna bet it's gonna fit just a little tight in the sheath, and I'll have to adjust that. I've got a video on how I do Kydex adjustments. It's actually really simple. But then things like fat carbon is usually, I use a lighter. The heat gun actually floods too much heat. It just floods too much heat. So when let me find you a sheath right quick, and I'll show you. So this knife is going to drop as well. I had somebody order this one, and they just didn't pay their invoice. It's been like 2 weeks, so I gave everybody a pretty fair chance, and I'm not going to put you on the red list after one, but if you do it to me 2 or 3 times, then yeah, I ain't going to take your order. But so like this one, this sheath came from this mold right here, and depending on how I make the mold is, I mean, if I have problems with more than 3 out of 10 sheaths, then there's something wrong with the mold. I need to change the mold because it's not common to what I'm putting out. So I'll make a little adjustment to the mold. Like if it's super loose, like every single one of them are super loose, then I'll start cutting in down here and try and mold it into where I don't have to mess with it as much. Same kind of thing as the router over there. Anywhere I can cut time and not have to do something 2 or 3 times, the better. But anyway, sometimes they need a little adjustment, and all I do is I'll take a lighter, not a heat gun, because the heat gun, like I said, it floods too much heat, even on low. The problem with on low is by the time it actually gets hot, everything else around it is hot. So I just use a lighter, and I'll just torch it in until, I don't want to go until the Kydex actually gets glossy, because then you'll burn it. But you can use a lighter and heat it up real gently and make it fit. Now the Revelation sheaths all fit tight, every one of them. There's nothing much I can do about that other than making this a little thicker next time, or if I have something that just doesn't work, I'll remake it. I've remade a mold or two. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Sometimes the like a thinner blade with thicker handle material, the front end where the choil, if the handle matches the choil, like this is a Tribute sheath. So on a Tribute, they've got a little recess right here, and the blade actually dips. This is a guard, but I took up that space with the mold because the blade is this wide. It just tapers back into here. So what that causes is the top end of the sheath to be narrower than the blade. So what happens with those Tributes is they scratch right here pretty easily. So I do my best to try and mold in like that. But this one has thicker handles, thinner stock. And I didn't like the way that the guard fit in and out, so I just glued some Kydex to it to thicken that up and make it a little less tight when it molds. And I've done that with a few of them. I mean, I even have some bigger molds, like this is for the Huntsman. And this one's got some thick Kydex in here, because the first 2 sheaths that I molded, I played with for 10 minutes trying to get the retention right. Realized that there was just too much molding into here. Once I did this, every single one of the sheaths went through fitting within a minute or 2. So it just sometimes takes a little playing with to get exactly the way you want it. But you know, if you're just doing like one-off stuff, the molds are useless to you. But I'm doing big runs of one knife, so I gotta make it easier somehow. My next step is making 3 or 4 molds for each one. Absolutely, bud. Let's do, so throughout every stage we usually have 2 belts that we hang on to. For the finishing stage it goes 120 and then 220, and then for the final stage I do 400 grit and Scotch-Brite. I'm gonna grab those. I always use old and wore out belts for this process, and I go through them. I go through so many dang belts, it's retarded. Alright, so here's a good candidate for a handle finisher. 400 grit, aluminum oxide belt, and then I don't know if anybody from yesterday is in, but I was talking about how I have specific Scotch-Brite belts for specific uses, and I don't intermingle them. I have my handle Scotch-Brite one. That one touches my Carta. It kind of gums it up a little, but it's still really good on the blades. So I use that one for, these are all hollow grind. Anything flat grind, I have to take over to the other machine and finish the bevels before I sharpen them. So I don't want to put Scotch-Brite on the blade if I can help it when it's sharpened, because sometimes that sharpened edge will snag Scotch-Brite, and you can imagine what happens at high speed. So 400 grit. All right, I thought I'd say something. There's not a massive amount of difference between the 400 and the 200 or the 220. The key here is that the router, the little guide wheel on the router, will scratch up this surface. So the reason why I take it down to 220 before the router is because if I take it down after the router, then this space in between the bevels will be wider than it would be if I went closer to finished. So I do my best to take off as much from around the spine before I do the routering. That way the routering is closer to true. I don't have to do it twice again. But you can see a good bit of difference between 400 grit shine and 220 shine. And again, the last step will be the Scotch-Brite. So this stage goes really quick. With the small wheel, I'm just going to burn right through them. I just wanted to shut this off so I could tell you something and give you another insight on why 400 is the very last stage. For some things like this, which is hand sanded, all the fat carbon's hand sanded because, like I was saying, that router bit chatters a lot. And what it does, it'll leave a whole bunch of ridges. Doesn't look good on something that I'm charging extra for, and something that costs more because of the material is just a step up. So I just want to take these down a little better. What that does is that leaves 220 scratches everywhere. See, and they're going everywhere. There's nothing wrong with that. However, and here's one thing that I think a lot of makers should be doing, is this stage right here. I want you to just see how long this doesn't take to fix, okay? So there's a whole bunch of people selling knives that are finished to this level, all right? Some of them are overcharging. We're not going to get into that discussion because that's a different live discussion. But I'm going to just show you what it takes to turn it from this to this. All right? Just keep this in mind when you see one that's not completely finished. All right? Ready? Don't blink. So if you looked away, you missed it, but that is all it takes to finish one from scratched up like this, which, I mean, it's smooth, it's super fit and finished. Everything looks fine, but this one, I mean, it took, what did that take? 5 whole seconds? Yes, you can blink now. That's it. That's all it takes, though. So, why more people don't do that, I don't know. Anyway, just a good example for why I do the 400 last. All right, so I'll show you something really cool here in just a second. Once I get through all the way back down to the fat carbon again. But the Scotch-Brite actually will remove old dust off of the surface and clean it. That's why it's the last stage. So it actually brightens up all the materials. shiny. Now you can see that red really good, huh? Alright, so what? Now look how bright the color is. My camera's terrible. I had to oil these. Super bright now because it cleaned every bit of that junk that was left on the surface off. Now it is just fat carbon and steel. So we'll do the same step with the 10-inch wheel, but of course I got more surfaces with that to do, being the sides of the handle and the spine all the way down the knife. Wrong wheel. So we're back to 400. And now we're going to do the sides. We'll just do one swipe. And this is mainly to get the Corby screws to that 400 finish. Not a lot of grip comes from the side. I mean, it comes from the radius anyway. So you would see on some of my older videos, I would take the Scotch-Brite all the way around the handle. I don't do that because I want to leave the grip now. That's what we're going to be doing. Taking our corners all the way around the spine and making it nice and uniform here. finish the spine on the splicer like this because I can't go all the way down it. I got that little guard right there. Voila. So we've got a few in here. So the 400 grit will actually smudge the black over everything in the fat carbon, which is why it's really important to take the Scotch-Brite over the fat carbon. All that black smudges. Doesn't matter what color it is, it turns black. And then you hit it one time on the Scotch-Brite. It goes from this black looking color bright. See it? It takes all that black junk off. Good example of how the Scotch-Brite cleans. Of course, Scotch-Brite was made for cleaning. Pretty neat, huh? Just one little liquid. Pretty cool, huh? We do the sides, all the way around the spine. All little corners. This splicer will do the spine. And then the bevel. A little hot. So, it's really important to do the Scotch-Brite last. I know a lot of people tape up their knife blades. I used to tape up my stuff to do all the handle work, but I'll tell you what happens is the tape holds a whole bunch of junk. The tape will trap little dust particles, it'll trap little steel shavings, and then what happens is you got to take the tape off and it scratches it anyway. So it's kind of pointless. So we make sure that the Scotch-Brite is the last thing to touch the blade. And that's why I just don't even bother with taping them. Because pretty much all this junk that is on there from handling them, all the dust, it's going to just come right off with the Scotch-Brite. See there? Finished knife. Just needs a cleaning. Unclean, clean. Unclean, clean. That was, so what I was saying is, that everything hollow ground gets finished on this wheel right here. And this wheel won't finish flat ground stuff. I have to use the platen over here, flat backing. So I like doing the hollow grind stuff because when it's done with the handle, I can just run it across the Scotch-Brite on all surfaces and the knife is finished. But when I do flat ground stuff, I have to do the handle finishing, and then I have to go. I'll usually put the other plate on the other machine. That way I don't have to swap out from the 10-inch wheel, because this is the last wheel that I have to use for the knives. This is the one that I sharpened, which we'll be getting into as soon as I'm done with the Scotch-Brite on all these. So you're seeing me do every single surface that gets touched except for the cheeks, ricasso. So I do the chamfers on the shoulders. I do the underspine, and I'll usually just run it down the edge. Has no benefit, and then I do the bevels. And you can see there, I got a little smudge right there. That's just from my fingers. But that will clean up with some oil. And then I do swedges as well. And I go all the way down the spine. So I'm going to go ahead and burn through the rest of these. This process goes pretty quick, and then we'll move on to sharpening. You got all this dust on your fingers and you're holding them so lightly, sometimes you just drop them. That's why I got the bucket there. All right, so at this stage is where it becomes important that I did my demagnetization, because if they're not degaussed properly, then all this little super fine dust will stick to them and I won't be able to see my edges. But these all got degaussed. We're going to sharpen now, so I'm going to go grab my other 400 grit. There it is. All right. At the end of the week, all my belts are a mess. So at the beginning of every week, I have to reorganize because I'm extremely OCD. So usually for sharpening, I'll use a newer belt. But I turn my grinder down to the very slowest setting. Super slow. And now I'm gonna pull out something that you guys might find interesting if you haven't seen it already. I'm gonna go ahead and run this, make sure that this belt doesn't have any issues, like improper edge cuts, or not even if it's got a wobble or anything that I don't want to use it for sharpening. So like yesterday when I was talking about making sure the belt is broken, if anybody was there watching me finish grind, I like to go down the whole belt and make sure it is broken. And it might be, can you guys hear that? So when these belts get cut, they get roller cut a whole bunch at a time out of a big giant sheet. And the edges will curl upward. If our edges curl upward, we'll get what's called smile. Smile is where you raise the cheek, which is why it's called the cheek there. So we're going to make sure that the belt is broken. That way I don't get a smile. And that comes from either a cupped, usually a cupped wheel. When you're doing flat grinding, it has to do with your hand and how you're doing it. It does here as well, but when a trained hand is getting a smile, usually it's a belt issue, or sometimes there's junk on the edges of your wheel. But when we're sharpening, the belt has to be completely flat. It has to be, because if there's any cupping, it'll dig really deep really fast, and it's not good. It's not so much of an issue when you're finished grinding, but when you're sharpening, the belt has to be super flat. So I do like a newer belt. However, I tend to gravitate to sharpening on a belt that's been used like once. It's not quite new, it's been broken in, but it's still got some grit to it. Also, when we're doing the edges, I just want to take it really slow. Grab me a drink. So, I used to do all my edges free-handed. Sometimes I still do, it depends on the knife. What happens is after about 20 knives, I get tired and I'll start making mistakes. So I can't do that. What I came up with is based off of, this one is based off of, I built this inspired by the Tormach system. Back at the old place, we had a T4 and a T8. I think it's a good sharpening system, but I don't like stone wheel sharpen. I don't like concave edges, hollow edges. They're sharper, but I don't personally feel like they are as tough. And another thing that I noticed with the Tormach is when I went to do like a touch-up resharpen, it was easier to get it where I wanted with the convex edge as opposed to a concave or a hollow edge, which is what you're getting with direct wheel contact. Now here you're going to notice that I'm not on the wheel. I'm on this belt right here, which is why I was saying it's really important to make sure that it's not cupped. That's why I go around the whole thing and break it like you heard me do. And now it doesn't make that noise anywhere because I already did it. But so I made this sharpening rig here based off of the Tormach, which is essentially the same kind of rail system. It can go up or down. It's got a little tightener. This one slides, and this is threaded rod. So if I want to go up or down, I can loosen the nuts, bring it up or down. Right now I have it set at my secret angle. You guys know what that is. It's about 17, 18 degrees. It's actually about 17 and a half. That's where I like it. And it does vary from knife to knife. So on like a super big knife, it's going to be farther out. It's going to have a little more laid back of an edge, closer to 17. Shorter I go, it's going to be closer to 18. The shorter, like smaller I go, is also going to be thinner. So that 18, closer to 18 edge is going to be more suitable for something that is only about 7 thousandths behind the edge. This Wasp is about probably 12. So this I made very similar to the Tormach system. It's just a piece of threaded rod, and then this is I don't even know what it was. I don't remember. I just found it and it worked. I welded a nut into the end of it. It was the shape that I wanted. This is a big giant fender washer that I've actually cupped and made into somewhat like a dish. That way it has a little bit of rocking action when it's sitting here like so. And that way we can adjust our edge without, when you get all the way over, what happens is you end up pulling away and you'll change your edge angle. So this can move up or down to adjust edge angle as well. But it's got a set screw, a fulcrum screw, and a tightening screw. The fulcrum screw I'll adjust to the thickness that I want. I tighten that one first, but that one never needs a wrench because it's always just hand tight. So this is kind of hard to do and show you. So this guy, this is just a piece of, I want to say it's ATS 34 stainless. I have a couple bar stocks of that laying around that I just don't use anymore. Tool steel, not stainless. But anyway, I notched them on both sides to accommodate a blade. You can see the channel in there. But then I use tape over it so I don't scratch the blade. They're not heat treated, but the next set I make will be, because one of the top one has already started to bend just a little. So I will remake myself another set of clamps, but we're gonna go ahead and put the knife in there, and then I'll tighten this screw down just close, and then we use the tightening screw, quarter of a turn, and it's in there. It's not going anywhere. So then I just come over here. This allows me to get the angle that I want. It's super adjustable. You can see it's got a big long track on it, so I can go, I could do something like 10 or 12 inch blade on this without any issue, without getting to the end. I mean, even coming way out here and starting to turn, you could do something really big. But it excels at doing stuff this size. So Now it's important to wear a mask on this part more than most because the slow speed and this super fine 400 grit dust will come right up into your face. And it's all steel, and when it's fine like that, it'll turn your entire sinuses into infection and black. This goes pretty quick. Took a little bit on each side. There's one side. And I'm going to go until I start seeing the wire edge, and I don't think I'm going to be able to show it to you on here. When you're sharpening, you'll get what's called a wire edge. That's a burr. That's what we want. You got to have a burr before you have a good edge. But I'm looking for that wire all the way across. Right, then I'm looking for even on the point and even at the hilt. This one's done. That's all it takes. The only step left for this knife is to get stropped. So I pop that off. Now, I have this old cutlery box that I use for when I'm sharpening because I don't want them to touch together and knock the edges on each other's spine or anything. So I don't want to have to go back to this. Every time I go to this, I'm taking life out of the knife. So I just want to sharpen enough to put life into it. I'm going to just start setting these in here like this as I sharpen, and I can only get 10 of them or so in here. All right. Let's get to it. We'll just stick a new one in there. Tighten down our tightening screw, quarter of a turn. Done. My mask is done. It's wore out. And again, even on the point, even at the hilt. That's all we're looking at. Nice, beautiful edge. Amp up another. One side. Tradition Junior. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and freehand this guy. This thing's thin. It's only about 7/1000 at the edge. This edge is so tiny you almost can't even see it. It glares a little. See that little micro edge? Hey, John. I did restore the Adventure. I have a video on that, John. It's posted. It says complete knife restoration. It was just a couple days ago. Go check it out. Okay, so at this stage, I have 10 more blades left over there to sharpen, and I've got 5 of them here. I'm gonna just go ahead and put these 5 to rest, and I'll go ahead and strop them because I can fit 10 more in this. I'll go ahead and get this 5 out of the way. So when I strop, I use a buffing wheel, and I use a hard wheel. Hitting the heel of the blade. What are you using to sharpen? Do you like to, are you like stone sharpening, or do you like a rod? Do you use a rod? If you're sharpening mine, I like a, well, I would show you, but I just dropped it the other day ago. I had a really nice 3/8 inch ceramic rod. Stones are okay too. If it were me, if you're having problems getting started at the heel, then you can start working on the heel only. Back in here on a diamond stone, if it were me, if it's got any kind of smile where it's starting to wear, this is another reason why people like sharpening choils. I don't, because I just feel like they get hung on everything on carry knives. Certain knives of mine, like the Revelation here, has one, but this knife, I mean, people use them hard use, but it wasn't quite intended for that, although it's built plenty enough for it. It was just made a little prettier, that's all. But starting down at the heel, if it were me, if you're having a hard time or you have excess material down here at the heel, you can start at the heel and get it closer to where the rest of the edge is. Then when you start the next time, it's not so far behind. But I never did show you the rod. I never did even show you. Where's that? So I'll find it eventually. There's my little rod. So I use this one's completely almost wore out. This is just a ceramic rod, porcelain, and honestly, if it needs more than this, then you go to the diamond. But if it hasn't really been damaged, a medium grit ceramic rod works the best. It is the best. Here is a piece left of my. Now I have 4 short rods, and I started sticking them in my all the sheets that have little pouches for sharpener. But this one is a lot less wore out. 3/8 inch. This is like a medium grit ceramic. Work Sharp makes a little tool that has a diamond on one side and a ceramic on the other. I don't own one. However, I use one all the time because my buddy has one. Every time I go over there and see him, I use a sharpener. He has a whole bunch of my knives, like quite a collection. And he thinks it's funny that the knife maker comes over to his house to sharpen his knives. I'm just gonna fluff this wheel. Got this little rake, and I do that so it'll hold this. Not quite there. Nice and sharp. One more. All right, so really doesn't get a whole lot more usefully sharp than this. There is sharper, but useful is the key word there. It doesn't ever need to be really any sharper than this. I mean, this is stupid sharp already. Stupid sharp. So that's those 5, and these guys are done. They are complete and finished knives, and all of them are orders. So, yes, Victorinox does have an awesome little oval sharpener. I know exactly which one you're talking about, John. So, once the knives are done here, I actually go ahead and lay them out on microfiber. And so the buffer will leave all kinds of little black all over them. Dust, you can see the dust on it. They just need a cleaning and a soak in oil. So I'll go ahead and lay them all out like this. And just blast them with WD-40. And there's your colors. When they dry out, they'll turn white. Not white, but you know, they'll brighten up. But this is some finished knives here. Here is some finished knives. The only thing that's left to do to these is to laser them and put sheath on them. So, but of course, I'm not going to do that until I am ready to do all of them. I use a dry microfiber to clean. Dry as in just not completely soaked. Then before I send them out, I use a super soaked with a different oil. It's Surface Shield to coat them. This is a complete knife. It's done. It's pretty neat, huh? But you can see all it needed was that oil to get it clean. There's nothing on it now. But I usually just let them sit here and soak because the penetrating oil will get underneath everything on the surface, and then when I go to wipe it off later, you can almost just spray it off with the air. You see, like, this one's got junk all over the edge. If I leave that sitting there for a minute, the oil will take care of it itself. But I'm going to go back over here, take you guys back over with me, and we're going to finish sharpening. I got to go get my case, my cutlery box. So we're going to finish sharpening. Grab my cutlery box. Slotted box. Once I get past a few in here, then I'll put it down in here with it. Now all these are about 15, 16 thousandths behind the edge. It's just thin. Not as thin as that splicer, but it's thin. Somewhere around in that 15 to 18 range is where I like them. And this set screw here, for thinner stuff, I'm going to run it in farther. For thicker stuff, I'm going to back it out. So I'll back it out a half a turn for the 5/32 stock that we're running now, which is all that's left. This was a long one, almost 3 hours worth of life, huh? Mustang. Halfway. What's up, everybody that's just now joining in? See a few numbers going up. I'm sharpening knives that I have just recently finished. Three more. Got a Tradition. This one's only about 12 to 15 behind the edge. It's pretty thin. I didn't take geometry class. But it's possible to learn by trial and error, I'll tell you that. One more. And then you guys can, those of you that have been in here a while, will see the fat carbon, what it looks like when it's oiled. That's when it pops, when you spray it. Last one and we'll go strop. That is it. Get this damn hat off. Mask off. Face hat off. Woo-wee. That was a long haul. Let's go strop these and then we'll spray them with oil and that'll be a wrap. 3 hours and 3 minutes into this live. Oh. Okie dokie. that is a wrap for the spinning machines on these. So let's put some oil on them so you guys can see this fat carbon, because they're awesome. Get all these out. Let's see. These all right here, all those right there are orders. So Frank Gergitz and oh hell, I had half of them in my head now. I've done forgot. But Frank, one of yours is in there. That Hornet right there, that green one, that's you. The rest of these, if you're still around or dropping in, everything from here this way is going to be dropping tomorrow. I'm not positive on when tomorrow, seeing as how I haven't done the sheets yet. It's not a big deal though. I'm not too worried about it, because I can't send them out until Monday or Tuesday anyway. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll go ahead and drop them and finish the sheets over. What's going to happen this weekend. So there's our Mustangs. And then we've got a Tradition dropping as well. All oiled up. So I'll swap the camera around here just a second as soon as I get these done. Ooh, look at that. Fat carbon's pretty. I'm dying to see this Buzz Lightyear one. Yep, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm into that. Buzz Lightyear colors. Check this out. Let's see. All right, so yeah, Buzz Lightyear colors. See, white and green with purple. That's a Buzz Lightyear color scheme. That's awesome. And then here's the this is the Forest Eye with the stone gray, tannish looking liners, G10 liners. We've got a Tradition, 3 Mustangs, 1 purple, blue, and a red, blue, purple, red Hornet, and then these are all orders. This one is also an order, but this guy's got 3 other knives on order too, and I'm finishing them up. 2 other knives that I'm finishing up for him next week anyway, so I'm going to wait. And then this one was supposed to get finished today, ran out of time. It's already 15 after 5. But let me clean these up right quick and show you. All cleaned up. Yep, that's awesome. The Buzz Lightyear combo. I'm in love. I don't know what possessed me to do that, honestly. I was just over there picking stuff out and saw that. Thought, yep, that'll look cool. And it does. This one has got a little dab of glue on it. See it right there? From Assembly. Brand new razor blade and oily. And it's gone. Gone. So there is the fat carbon. This is the special Mustang Nitro V with the Lightyear color scheme there. This is going to be dropping tomorrow on the website, www.verygoodknifeco.com. Not positive on the drop time yet. This is awesome. This one I was kind of curious. The Forest Eye is like OD green. It's just OD green fat carbon with black, and it has some tone stone gray. They are kind of tannish liners, and I was trying to go for that whole multicam look with that, and I don't know that it nailed it, but it's pretty good. I like it a lot. Good combination. So here's another special. This is a Nitro V Hornet, and it has got these stone grayish tannish liners, G10 liners, with the fat carbon Forest Eye. This one will be dropping tomorrow as well. My hands are filthy. I need to go wash my hands. Then we've got a Tradition Nitro V in green canvas micarta. This is essentially base, a little more base model. Got some junk up in between in the corners. We can get that out. All right. Brand new. This one is also dropping tomorrow. Also dropping tomorrow is this Revelation 80 CRV2 in red. PBKG special. Well, not quite. His is a Nitro V. But PBKG's Tim School of Fish special. They've got the red. They like the red. Super popular for Revelation now because of their videos. And then also dropping tomorrow, we've got Nitro V Mustangs. I got one in purple. Yes, always shout out to Tim School of Fish. If anyone is dropping in that's not subscribed to Tim School of Fish, go do it. For no other reason other than he is awesome and I told you to do so. But seriously, do so. We've got a blue one, blue Nitro V Mustang. Keep seeing those numbers go up and down, so people are popping in every now and then. Most of you guys that have been in here yes, exactly. Tim is the reason why most of you are here. I wouldn't be where I am without the YouTubers. I guarantee you I would not be where I am without the YouTubers. Not that I'm anywhere special, but I'm here making knives for a living still. So they've kept me going, no doubt. Jacob Peterson, Gabe Brimmer, Last Huntsman Outdoors, Tim School of Fish, Scab, Choir Boys, PBKG. Some big names in here. Who else? Sharp Ends. Shout out to Sharp Ends. He's a good supporter. Puts out some good videos. Who else? Timbo. Timbo does some reviews every once in a while. Let's see. Ken Faulkner. Ken Faulkner's a great dude. I got to hang out with Ken and Tim at Blade Show. We went to dinner together. Who else? Who else are we shouting out today? Shit. Damn, I'm forgetting some. Oh, yeah, Javon. Javon's Knife Flicks. He's big time supporter. Putting out some big time rep for me. Here is a blue Hornet. The red Revelation is not Nitro V, Manny. It's 80 CRV2. This one's 80 CRV2. Manny Neves is a big time supporter of mine. I am pretty positive that he has a comment on every single one of my videos. Thank you, Manny, for your support, my brother. Everyone that's still in here is a big supporter. Steven and let's see, who else is in here? I keep seeing 4. Every time the numbers go down, there's 4. So 4 of you have got nothing better to do but sit here and listen to me blab for 3.5 hours. So here is an order. This is Frank Gergitz. Frank, check your email. I believe she sent out invoices today. Did she get invoices sent out today?
Me? No, I need to.
Oh, not yet.
What?
Okay.
You need to confirm what all you have, right?
Open your order book, and I'll call them out on live in case any one of those. I mean, I doubt it, but I seriously doubt it. But maybe someone is watching. Frank Gergitz, I know for a fact. That is your Hornet right there, Nitro V and green. The invoices for all of these orders that I'm about to call out will be going out today. Man, this is really nice. This is better looking than I anticipated. So, got an order from, who is it that had the wasp with gnat and red?
Wasp with gnat and red?
Yeah, gnat with red liners. Do you know?
Or no? Don't call them all out, though.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do.
But don't call them all out, though. Some of them might be gifts or something.
Okay. This is cool. This is really cool. This is Nat Micarta with red liners. Super slick looking.
That would be Rick. Rick Herman.
Rick Herman, here's your wasp. You'll be getting an invoice here tonight.
I'll work on that tonight.
Who got the green wasp? For any of you popping in or just scrolling, hope you guys are doing all right. Good to see you. I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. Who?
Denise.
No last name?
Can't pronounce it, I don't know.
Okay.
Fetch.
Denise Fetch. No. Fetzer. Dennis Fetzer. I'm not positive. There's your wasp. Nitro V, green handles. Pretty sweet. Here's a gnat wasp. Who got the gnat wasp? Plain gnat, no liners. So I got a gnat wasp with red liners today, and a gnat wasp with no liners. Who we got? Pretty sweet. Brand spanking new and shiny. Nitro V, wasp, Nat Micarta. Charles Bledsoe. Yep, Charles Bledsoe. Charles is a big time supporter. He's got quite a few. Charles, there's your wasp. I know Charles watches these sometimes. Sometimes they'll watch the videos. So, Charles, if you ever come back and watch this, you watched me finish your wasp today. That's cool. Anyone else too that comes back and watches that happen to have one of these. So I'm just taking the razor blade here, and there's always just some junk down in between where the scales meet the blade. I always use the razor blade to clean any of that up. Make sure there's nothing down in there. Every surface is super clean.
He's asking about liners and material thickness.
Who?
Yes.
Oh, Steven. All right, and then last but not least, we have a splicer, a black splicer Nitro V. Who's that belong to?
What is it?
A splicer, black splicer. Now these knives right here.
That may be a gift, so we're not gonna say that.
Okay, I'll keep quiet on that. This one may be a gift. It's written in the book. I think it's a gift. Probably says husband does not know. Call for payment. So someone's gift splicing knife here has been announced. And if I don't say names, you'll never know.
Yeah.
The odds of you being one of the 4 people that are still sitting here watching, though, is pretty low. All right. So here is the last one on the lineup for the day. Splicer Nitro V and black micarta. So, if any of you have stuck with me this long, I really appreciate your support. I appreciate your views. Hell, I just appreciate having you as company here with me today. We are almost 4 hours into this live. 3.5 hours into this live. I started at 2 o'clock. So, I have not sat down since. I would really enjoy a sit down. But anyway, there are our knives from here to here. We'll be dropping tomorrow along with this ADCR V2 Revelation. If tomorrow I have the time, I will start working on this signature series. I doubt that it's going to get dropped though. But I will send out a newsletter. If you guys are not subscribed to the newsletter already, go to verygoodknifeco.com and subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get a newsletter tomorrow morning sometime talking about a drop, and I'll let you know in that newsletter, and I'll post some videos, make posts on in all the medias to let all of you guys know when the drop is going to be, what time the drop is going to be, and we'll go ahead and drop all these. So, yeah, I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you guys watching and sticking in there with me. I know I've had 4 people that have had nothing better to do today. So I caught you. Thanks, guys, for sticking with me. Appreciate it. Have a good one.